Fred Slater with Helen Weiss.
At Rethink TV. And now we're talking to Dave Cornthwaite from England.
England.
A real Britsman.
Yeah.
And he...
Britishman.
Sorry, British man.
British.
Of course.
Oh.
So please,
Sorry.
Dave, tell us, you are an adventurer. And you're also the founder of Yes Tribe. What does that mean? What should I say yes more to?
Yes.
Well, you should say yes to things that are going to enrich you, opportunities that I guess once upon a time you might have passed by when you were a little more static in your life and your decisions.
Oh, was there a time in
Nice.
your life when you were very static in your life and in your decisions?
Yeah, for sure.
When you had nose.
When you had a nose?
Yeah, when you had nose.
Oh, when you had nose.
I feel like I was born with a nose.
It's still there. It's still there.
Still, I can see
By the
it.
way, we don't care if you don't have a nose. We'll still interview you.
You probably won't.
Oh, that's not true.
But inclusivity is the message
Yes.
on this podcast, isn't it?
Yes.
I quickly through my childhood, my dad had a job that meant we moved around a lot. So until the age of 18, I lived in maybe 18 different places.
Oh, wow.
Right, so I guess
Okay.
I developed this natural peripatetic nature, the natural urge to travel.
I've never heard that word before.
Me neither.
You can have that one for free.
Spell it for me, Dave.
What? Yeah, you spell it.
Peripatetic?
Peripatetic.
Peripatetic.
I'll try and spell it.
P-A-R-A-T-E-T-T-A-T-I.
Anyway,
Whatever.
so
Yeah.
I don't think this is a spelling bee.
Moving right along.
Yeah, moving right along.
Would it
So
be
you
more
had a-
entertaining if I did it?
You had a natural urge to travel.
After when I grew up,
Yeah.
I went to university and I actually bought a house when I was 20 years old. It was the best hustle of my life.
Oh my god.
And I ended up
wow.
living in it for 6 years.
Oh.
And that 6 years involved going to university and then getting a job and having that static life we were talking about.
What kind of
before.
job were you doing?
We were waylaid by the nose conversation. I was a graphic designer. I was running a graphic design
Oh,
department.
really?
I was a newspaper editor and then ran a graphic design
So
department.
you have a creative mind.
Well,
What
I
do you
like
say?
to think so. At the same time, the output, the stuff that I was creating was just horrible.
Okay.
And I got to the end of every day thinking, there's no satisfaction from what I'm creating.
Okay.
If I wasn't doing this job, nothing would change. It's not like I'm positively impacting the world. So that realization hit, and then for the last 10 years, I've been living a really
Can we
nomadic
one
life.
second? Can
Oh.
we go back to your current turning
Oh,
point?
okay.
I love this. It's
Sorry,
brilliant.
Brad.
Yeah.
No, it's great. This is a proper
Yeah.
conversation. It's
Yeah,
not an interview.
yeah. Well, I'm never allowed to ask questions, that's why. So I've got to jump in before she jumps in.
I think that's one of the realizations that all men come to.
Anyway, we need some yin and yang in our lives, I believe. So I think that's perfectly fine. I love the balance and the little tensions and the little...
Yes.
So much tension on this couch.
Oh
Yes.
my god.
Oh my gosh.
How close
So,
can we get?
but I love it. Isn't it beautiful? Look at us. So, back to the turning point. So, at some point in your life, stop laughing, Mr. Young. So, at some point in your life, so you were having this job. You had bought an apartment at the age of 20, which is pretty impressive. I think that's big. So you lived in your apartment, and you were what? Like, what made you decide I'm gonna just quit it all, leave, and do something different?
I just found myself completely drained by life. I was escaping in so many different ways. One, I was justifying the income that I earned, doing this job I hated. By just spending I recognise now what I was doing was spending that money on short-term bursts of happiness. The walking out
Right.
thinking, I can afford this, I earned this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just crap. You know?
It is.
I didn't need that stuff. I
Yeah.
just had shelves full of stuff. I bought lots of little shiny gadgets.
Yeah.
And all of that was okay, if I buy this, that'll be happy. I can think about the next thing I'm going to buy. That's my kind of source of happiness, and then I'll buy it.
Yeah.
But actually, I was just a vicious circle. I was just doing something I hated for money, so I could buy stuff that I didn't need and fill my house up, which meant it was much less likely for me to go away because that was my comfort zone. And hobbies are great.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
that turning point that we were talking about was it just came when there was a realization that the things that I was doing, my actions, the way I chose to spend my time and the way I was spending my money actually wasn't forwarding me in any way. It
Yeah.
was just weighing me down.
Yeah,
and I was
yeah,
doing
yeah.
it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
I also play PlayStation a huge amount, so
Yeah, I
Seen
saw
the
that
photo.
picture.
and hours and hours a day. And I got to the end of each gaming session and my brain was a little more dead than it had
Yeah,
before, and
yeah.
I wasn't going out
Ooh,
enough.
did you hear that, people? Brain was a little more
I
dead.
think
like
there's
it.
Brain dead
like
through
it.
video
That's a
gaming.
great story.
Yes.
Well, I understand
It's not
that
healthy.
there can be benefits of playing games, of developing certain attitudes and
Yeah.
attributes, but at the same time, I don't think there's any excuse for living a virtual life. You know, people will come up with all kinds of excuses, and that it's helping them do this stuff, and they learned how to make money because of this business-related computer game. But but at the same time,
Get out there.
there's a real world, and,
Yes.
and you only understand how to live in that when you go and
Go
experience
out and touch it, see it,
Touch
experience
as
it.
much as you can.
Yes,
How
touching
much,
is good
and
for you.
how much is out there?
Yeah.
My God, the world is huge.
Well, it's limitless,
real.
and we
We're
can
here,
we
right
can,
now.
we can never experience
Yes.
everything. But I wanted my decision to change everything was based on the fact that I wanted to work out who I could be as a human, as a man.
And
And
how
I
did
was-
you do that? How did you do that?
Well, I just decided to. Well, I guess that
back to
motto
my question.
is starting to say yes more. So
Yeah.
actually, you know, okay, we need to say yes and we need to say no to different things. But for me, the yeses are the most important. That's the glass half full because they're the things that happen. They're the things we learn from.
So
And-
instead of, for example, can you give an example in your like former life where you would, let's say, sit at home and do like video gaming? So instead of saying no to people who would come to your house and say, "Oh, come on, let's go do something," you would
Well-
say no because we were playing, and then you said, "I have to say yes more, get out there
I
and
was
start
just-
living my life."
I was lazy. I felt no compulsion to go out and improve myself. I felt like I was content in that little world in my sofa-sized beanbag in the games, but I was living in Swansea, so 40 minutes away are the best beaches in the UK for surfing. I also had long hair and a beard that you wrapped up in elastic bands, and I thought that was cool.
We'll see if we can get some of those photos.
But I went surfing once in 6 years in my time in Swansea. That's crazy.
That is.
So
So you have it at your fingertips and you never touched it.
Right.
That is so sad.
Yeah, it was really sad. It was really sad. So I think, you know, the loser nickname that we coined earlier, perfect.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be that loser anymore. I wanted to have something to talk about when I went out to dinner with friends. If indeed I said yes to that, and I wanted to basically get to day X, the last day of my life, and look back and think I've done everything that I could. And it's that simple. And I knew that if I didn't start living that way, then I'd start regretting it day to day, and also when I look back.
So that is your rethink moment. I want to make
Rethink
sure I do
moment.
everything.
Boom.
Yes.
That's
Boom.
why you call it Rethink TV.
Boom. Yeah, that's why
I
we're
only
doing
just
this.
got that. I just
Really?
thought was
Looking for
This
that
is what it's
rethinking
all
moment
about.
where I eventually
Rethink
went,
moment.
That's great.
I want to get
So,
this done.
but now what's really interesting for those people is, so now you rethought your life. You had this boom moment.
Yeah.
So, but how did you actually actively started doing it? Like, what did you do in order to change?
So hold on, just for everybody at home.
Yeah.
Brett
It's happened
has
twice or 3 times.
programmed twice a day for different
Four times
four
a
times
day.
4 times.
for motivational messages just to pop up. Like just now,
Just
happened.
it was find your purpose.
Find your
Yes.
purpose. In the
So
morning,
do that.
in the morning is 2 minutes of love yourself. So
Okay.
I haven't done it for a while, but you're meant to stand in front of the mirror and say, "I
Define-
love you, self. I love
Okay.
you.
I love you.
Look
I
in the
love you.
mirror."
I love you.
Okay, then in the
There's so many different ways to
Love
There is.
yourself.
define loving
There is.
yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's to stand in the mirror and look at yourself in the eye and say, "Yeah, I love you. You're a
I love
fucking
you.
good
You're,
person.
you're
You
awesome.
are."
And you are a good
You
person.
are.
Well, thank you.
It's amazing.
You're a really good guy.
Best co-host I could wish for.